Okay, today this is going to be a very simple beginner's guide to Logic, how if you've just bought the program, you're going to get going straight away and get creating some music. So let's jump into it. Okay, so Logic's opened. It starts with this page. I'm going to go to New Project, Empty Project, Choose. Okay, so Logic's opened up. Let's move me down here. Okay, so this dialog box opens up when you start Logic. You've got software instrument, which is using any of Logic's virtual instruments. It's going to be MIDI, so you're going to need a MIDI keyboard ideally to input the data. Audio is going to create an audio track, so if you wanted to record guitar or bass or vocals. Drummer, this is technically a MIDI track as well, but it has performance elements, so basically it creates a drummer profile, and you can have a certain feel and a certain sound to your drums based off an individual virtual drummer. External MIDI, you probably won't need this unless you have an external keyboard that doesn't run via USB. It's done on a MIDI connection. Your interface will also obviously have to support MIDI for that. Guitar or bass, that's going to just create another audio track, same as above. Okay, so let's start with software instrument, and we're going to click that and hit create. So what we've got here is the arrange window. And this is where your timeline is going to go. This is where all your different channels are going to go down here, and along here are the bars along the top. So you hit space, and that will start the playhead moving. Then space again to stop it, and then enter will turn it back to bar number 1. So that is the arrange page, very basic. Over here we have the inspector area. This channel strip corresponds to this channel strip, and the channel is where you put everything. The channel is where you put your individual things, like you select your instrument, you load any effects, and then you can send it to other areas. This is where your output is. This is for any automation. This is panning left or right, wrong way around. Volume slider. So you're going to use the volume slider, the pan, the instrument, and the audio effects mainly. You will use send sometimes. You might need to change the outputs. You can, if it's a MIDI channel, you can put some MIDI effects on as well. And EQ you're going to use a lot to shape the sounds. And settings up here, you can load different channel strips that you've created. You can create presets basically. Anyway, that's a channel strip. This one next to it is the output channel strip. So anything on any of these individual ones, instrument 1, or if you had 2, 3, 4, they all go out through the output. And any effects you put on the output will affect every single channel in the project. Up here, you've got your play, which you can do by space. I told you, stop, same again, space, record. You can do that with R, the keyboard R. That gives you a countdown of 4 beats, and then it goes in. Rewind and fast forward. You might want your library, press Y, or go up here. This is where you can choose Logic sounds, for instance, a drum kit. This is the type, and then it loads up the channel strip. Or if you wanted to go back, so if you wanted to go back, go to bass and bring in a bass. Now that's loaded bass. I'm just going to play my keyboard here. Hopefully you can hear that okay. So yeah, that's how you could get a sound in very quickly. You can see here's the instrument, the ESX24, which is a sampler, is playing the bass. And these are the different effects on the sound. You've got a bass amp, you've got a compressor, you've got pedal board, which is like a guitar pedal board or a bass pedal board, and you've got some echo. Something else you'll need to know about for later is the mixer, which appears by pressing X. It's basically just going to show you like a traditional mixing console. You've got all your virtual channels along here. As you've only got 1 at the moment, it's just showing 1, but when you add 2, 3, 4, it will all appear here. And this allows you to control the volumes, the panning. Yeah, let's add in a new track. Up here, this adds a new one, or this duplicates the current one selected. So let's add in a new one. Let's go to software instrument, create. I'm going to open my library with Y, bring in a drum kit. Let's go Motown, revisited. Now, if I hit my keyboard, got a nice little drum kit. Anyway, I'm going to close my library so I've got more screen space. I tend to always have my inspector, this area, my channel area, and the arrange, obviously. Up here, we have the display bar. We can change what we are shown. I normally have it on custom, to be honest, but Beats and Project is fine. This is your bar and your beats, the subdivisions, the BPM, which you can drag up and down to change the tempo. Key, you don't need to change this, but you can change this if you want. Time signature, standard is 4/4, but you can also change this as well if you're working in a different time signature. Okay, so I've got a bass and I've got the drums. You can double click here and rename it drums if you like. When this is armed, when this R appears red, it means this track is armed to record. This one here, solo, just solos the channel for S. M mutes the channel. This here is your smart control. You might not really need this straight away. This is your mixer window, which I already showed you. This here is your piano roll, which is where you can edit the MIDI. So for any notes that you record, you can then, if you need to change them, you can edit them here in the piano roll. We'll come to that in a minute. This allows you to put on a loop. So if I just wanted to cycle these 4 bars round and round, hit this. You can also turn it on and off with C for cycle. Metronome, you might want to turn on and off when you're playing. But you can do that with K or click up here. Here you have your event lists, which will, when there's more MIDI data, it will just list them all here and you can make changes. But you shouldn't really need this straight away. Marker information, tempo information, and signature won't really need this straight away. Notes, if you want to write any notes, you can click that and then you type in here. You might use Apple loops quite early on. You might want a drum beat. Say I wanted a drum loop, I would go to all drums. I might want this backflip beat, drag it in. You can either import or don't import the tempo. I'm not going to worry right now. You need to make sure you're selected in the right window. So you see this blue outline shows you which area is currently selected. Just a beat, get rid of that. I don't want it. And I don't want this channel either for now. So backspace can delete. Okay. So those are the loops. You can open or close them with O. By the way, I'm using 10.0 logic, not 10.5. So some of my shortcuts might be different from yours, but a lot of the processes are all still the same. What else? Media. If you want to drag in any media, you can use the bin here to do it. So if you wanted to import a sample from somewhere else, like your desktop or a song from iTunes, or yes, if you wanted to search from any other file, you could do that here. And then you can just drag and drop it in. So if you're working with samples a lot, or if you want to cut up any audio, then that's where you would do it. Okay, anyway, that is an overview of the main areas you're going to use. I can't think of anything else that's vitally important to learn to get you going. So now let's jump into writing a song. In my eyes, there's only 4 real elements you need to write a song. You need some rhythm, so drums, some bass, some melody, so either a vocal or a synth line, and harmony, guitar chords, piano chords, a pad, and really that's all there is to it in the fundamentals anyway. Obviously you build on these and you can change these, but yes, this is all you really need to get a song going. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a bass channel here ready to go. I've got some drums. I'm going to add another software instrument, and I might do keys there for some harmony or a top line. Top line means melody. And I'm going to record some guitar to show you how an audio track works rather than these virtual MIDI tracks. So audio creates, and this will correspond with what your audio interface has. Currently, this is picking up my microphone. You can see the input here. If I change that to input 2, it will start picking up my guitar. This I means that it's monitoring the input. So you can turn that off if you don't want the sound to come through. And the R you can turn off as well, just for now. I'm going to rename this guitar so I know that I'm going to record guitar with it. So let's get going. I'm going to start with the drums. You can move them up or down, or any channels up and down as you like. And I'm going to start with a basic beat, maybe just 4 or 8 bars of something very basic just to get going. Okay, so I'm going to hit. Okay, so that's armed. It's ready to go. Going to hit record. It's going to give me 4 beats, and then I have to start playing. So 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it didn't start too well, but it got better. So what I'm going to do is, I know from bar 5, it started playing a lot better. So I'm going to cut that, which I can just do by dragging the region. This is called a region, by the way. And then I'm also going to do the same there. So I've now got a 4-bar loop, but I want it to go from the start. So I'm just going to drag it back like that. Now if I hit enter and space, put the metronome over the top. You can hear I faltered a bit at the end there. So I'm going to edit this now just to put it in better time. This is the good thing about MIDI, is you can get stuff in time quite easily. So I'm going to double click on the region. It will now show me my MIDI data. You can see I'm a bit off the beat there, bit off the beat, bit off the beat. So what I'm going to do is use a quantize function, and quantize means put in time, basically, snap to grid. So I've got a 16th grid here. All these little lines are 16th notes. So that's my bar 1, bar 1, bar 2. There's 16th notes in between there. There's 8th notes, 4 quarter notes. And what I'm playing here are essentially 8th notes. So if I go Command A, which will select all, I can then hit Q, and that will then snap everything to the quarter note. So it should be bang on. So there we go. So I got 4 bars. That sounds pretty good. If I wanted to edit any of this, I can click and drag. And you can change how loud it is as well by selecting the note, as I just did, and sliding this velocity slider up or down. I'll move that to a kick, so I'm going to move that back to snare, and I'm going to drag this up, make it a bit louder. Okay, so that is the drums and a very brief introduction to the piano roll there. So now that I have drums, I'm going to play some keys over the top. I haven't selected an instrument yet, so I'm going to find something. I'm going to use, let's just use the electric piano just to make something easy. Let's hear it. Play some basic chords, and I'm just going to record that now, so I've got something to go out. So I've got a melody, sorry, a harmony. Need to make sure this 1, 2, 3, 4 is on in order to get that countdown of 4 beats. If it's not on, you won't get the countdown. Okay, there we go. Just something quite simple. And that's my harmony taken care of. Now, it wasn't perfectly recorded, so I'm going to do what I did before and just quantize it to put it in time. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I didn't play it that great, to be honest. If I wanted to go and record it again, I could just delete it with backspace. And anytime you want to undo something, Command Z is the command. So I'm going to quantize this with Command A and Q quantize. Currently it's quantizing to 16th notes, but I can change that to 8th notes or anything else. You can see that's currently snapped to the 16th note, which is late, and it needs to be here on the 8th note. So I will put that to 8th notes. Okay, bass often just plays the root note of the chords. So I'm going to record that as well by hitting R and just play root notes. simple. Open up the region, select it all with Command A, hit Q, quantize. So I've now got a tiny little idea in C minor. I could record vocals, but I'm a terrible singer, so I'm going to record some guitar instead by arming these two. Let me just grab my guitar. Okay, so you can see my inputs right. You can hear my guitar. It's roughly in tune. And so I know I've got something, a little loop in C. I just want to come up with a melody in C minor, and that will give me all the elements I need to start a song. So I'm just going to unclick R, otherwise you won't hear it when I'm just playing. Okay. Okay, so I've got a little riff idea. I'm going to hit R now because I want to record it. And then let's press R on the keyboard, or you can go up to here and it will count you in 4 and record. There we go, just a little melody idea. Very simple, but you get the idea. And now what I can do if I want to check my timing on that guitar part, I think it was okay, but it could be better. If I double click on it, like you do for the MIDI regions, you've got track and file here. I'm going to keep it on track. File opens up the wave editor, which you can then mess around with, but when you're starting out, you probably won't need this straight away. If we come to this one here, this little helix type thing, if you click on that, it will open up flex time. And what flex time does is it allows you to change the timing of your audio. So I'm going to turn on flex. By default, it switches to monophonic. I tend to keep it on monophonic, to be honest. I hit Z there to zoom in. You can also zoom in on both these pages with these sliders up here. So that will zoom vertically and this will zoom horizontally. Same here. But if you hit Z, it will, a couple of times, it will flick to fitting the screen. And you can see these lines are drawn automatically by Logic at the start of each wave, at the start of each note. And you can see they're a little bit out. So I'm just going to click on the ones where they're out. So that one's a bit out. And it will shift this as well. So I'm just going to shift these all. You just click on the white line and then you hold and drag. You're going to line it up. If you want it bang on the beat, you're going to line it up with these little bars above. Keep this sounding as human as possible. I will leave most of them where they're very close. And if there's any that are quite off, then I'll change them. That one's good, but I'm just going to, I don't want to change it when I pull this one. So I'm going to just slide that over a little bit. And I'm going to slide this one back now because it's a little bit far over. That's fine. That could be a bit closer. And yeah, now that's pretty much bang on. I think the keys are a little bit loud, so you can use the slider here, or you can click on the channel individually and do them here, and you'll see that slider is also going down there. Maybe I want my keys on the left side and I want my guitar on the right side. And now I've just got a 4-bar loop idea going round. Now what I might want to do is save this because I haven't done it yet. You go File, Save As. I don't know, little guitar idea. Save. You can keep it as a package. Also, you might want to share this with someone. So you go File, you'd go Bounce, Project or Selection. You can keep it as MP3. PCM is a WAV. It will be a better, higher quality recording, but it will take up more space. The MP3 at 320 kilobytes per second that's a pretty good sounding MP3. So most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and a WAV. I would use a WAV for anything important here, but MP3 is fine for this. So you just hit bounce, choose my first song, 1, hit enter, and there you go. You've now got your first idea, your first musical idea. Okay, and that's how to create a very simple idea in Logic. If you have any questions about any of this, please comment, please send me a message. If you would like to learn more about using Logic Pro, then please feel free to contact me. I currently have a few spaces open for new students. As a little extra, I'm offering the next student who joins me a discounted rate. I've been Adam from AM Music, and thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.